All right, it's a big breaking news development, in fact, that has happened, because of which we had to come out of that broadcast. That successful launch of the India-United States joint project of NISAR satellite has taken place, but it seems on the trade front, India and the United States are not really launching jointly successful missions. And so President Donald Trump has made an official announcement through his social media handle Truth Social, where he has slapped effectively, pending the negotiations on trade deal, a 25% tariff on India plus more. He's saying that India is our friend, but we have over the years done relatively little business with them because their tariffs are far too high, among the highest in the world. And they have the most strenuous and obnoxious non-monetary trade barriers of any country. That's Donald Trump slamming India for having non-monetary trade barriers. Also, they have always bought a vast majority of their military equipment from Russia. So essentially, President Trump of the United States holding a grudge against India for buying its defense systems from Russia, and of course also buying energy. He says along with China at a time when everyone wants Russia to stop the killing in Ukraine, all things not good. Donald Trump, they are mixing trade with politics, geopolitics with geoeconomics, and even as trade negotiations are going on, he's saying beginning August 1, India will therefore be paying a tariff of 25% plus a penalty for the above, which is for India buying energy from Russia. And he's saying thank you for your attention and to this matter. So mega and mega are not gelling, it seems. As of now, Donald Trump, who had mentioned this to a reporter yesterday evening, now formally announcing that India is going to get 25% tariff. Let's cut to some voices on this, because this is a huge development. And this is really a marker of Donald Trump really upping the ante. It seems that he's very satisfied with Pakistan, unfortunately. He's happy that Pakistan has nominated Donald Trump for a Nobel Prize. And so he will be tilting towards Pakistan, it seems, in his foreign policy also. And he would be punishing India for being absolutely clear about the fact that India's sovereign decisions would be India's sovereign decisions. Donald Trump not really liking that our leadership over the last couple of days in the parliament has made it clear that there was no mediation whatsoever on Kashmir, that it was Pakistan that came crying uncle Uncle Sam, and that's why the ceasefire happened, and not because Donald Trump. Remember, this announcement of Donald Trump is coming at a time when External Affairs Minister twice in the last 24 hours has made it clear that there was no conversation between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi between April 22 and June 17. And so it seems that Donald Trump is not liking this independent foreign policy of India and is using trade to browbeat us, which obviously he would fail. Let's see. Kartarth, I'm told, is joining us from the newsroom. Kartarth, this is clearly a case of Donald Trump upping the ante. Can you tell us more about what announcement the American president has made?
Indeed, Abhishek, and the three significant factors now. For the first time ever, Donald Trump obviously has been repeating the fact that India has a massive trade deficit and that we charge a lot of tariff from the US. That is something that he has been saying since February when the original tariff policy was rolled out. But this time, for the first time ever, he has mentioned India's military purchases from Russia. That is the first aspect of it. And the second aspect is India's energy purchases. Now, it is very similar to what the European Union had to say mid-July when they had also announced a restriction or a cap, a new lower cap on Russian oil imports for Indian refineries working from Gujarat as well, which were hit because of this, and there was going to be at least $15 billion of energy exports of India, which India was refining Russian oil and sending to the European Union, was going to be affected by it. What is very interesting is that Donald Trump had a meeting with EU's Ursula von der Leyen just a couple of days ago in Scotland. He also met the British Prime Minister there when he was on a personal trip, and he held a lot of meetings with his EU allies. And just 2 weeks after, EU has also put up raised a concern over India's energy imports from Russia. Now Donald Trump has also raked it up in this, and this time 25% tariffs, plus also a very suspicious mention about other rates also being included. So it is extremely unclear on whether or not this 25% on its own is going to be the final number that is coming, because as we remember, the August 1st deadline is approaching, and this is the second time Donald Trump was forced. Initially it was July 4th and 5th, and subsequently it was extended till August 1st. In fact, the original deadline goes all the way back in April and May. So there was tremendous pressure on the Donald Trump government to cut a deal with various nations. He has completely failed in terms of getting any major deals apart from countries like Vietnam and the UK that he had got in the past, and there are many nations that they're still fighting with in order to secure trade agreements. We saw a huge barrage of these letters that were shot off earlier this month to various nations, and India was not part of it because we were looking progressively on progress on the India-US trade agreement that was at least going to be an interim trade agreement expected to cover over 6,000 items. At the moment, there is no update on the progress on that agreement, but Donald Trump has now officially sent a massive shot down the barrel on the trade negotiations by imposing a 25% direct tariff at the moment, leaving other rates on the balance with much ambiguity left in his message. Abhishek.